Welcome to the final conference of the Transalp project. Just a second, please. This is the final conference of a 2-year project. And today, we have the president of EURAC, Mr. Senner, and I would like to invite him here to give us a talk and start with today's session. Thank you.
Grazie Max, un cordiale benvenuto a tutti, ein herzliches Willkommen auch von meiner Seite. Warm welcome to EURAC Research for the final public event of the Transalp project, Climate Change and Extreme Events in the Alpine Area, How to be Prepared? Question mark. No, there is no question mark, but I took the liberty to add this question mark because most of us know that we must be prepared. But the question is, how can we prepare for events we do not know? Well, I think it's common knowledge that the occurrence of extreme events such as droughts, floods, landslides, they will increase exponentially with every 1/10 of a degree Celsius. And that we might end up in a runaway climate change process well before 2030. Thus, the requests from the community, from authorities, from individuals, from politicians are getting more urgent. And the question is to develop a strategy which puts us in a better condition to cope with extreme events and, if possible, to prevent them and to become more resilient. Allow me a personal remark. I went through my records. I'm an ecologist and I have studied the climate change during the last 10,000 years. No, I'm not so old. I'm using some specific methods. I went through my records to understand when did I realize for the first time that these changes are occurring. And I think it was in the mid-1980s. And I have compared the temperature profile of a lake, which I began to study in 1973. And then I realized, well, something is changing. There is something that is not repeating each year. Something is different. But it was only in 1992 when we could publish a paper to show the unequivocal effects of climate change upon other effects which we notice in nature. At that time, it was acid rain and those things. So it took some time even for experts to understand what's going on. And I would say it was a delay of 10 years also for ecologists to grasp the situation. And it took another 25 years for the Paris Agreement. But it's almost 50 years now that Shukuro Manabe, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics last year, published a paper where he showed what's going to happen if we increase the CO2 concentration of the atmosphere twice. And he described what is happening since the year 2000. So he knew it in advance. So according to an author of the last IPCC report, and he told me that the result of COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh was very clear. It was very positive for him because they told us, forget about the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. And this is what also the economists put on the front page 2 weeks ago, which means, in other words, be aware of more and more extreme events. Now, the good news is that you are here and you have delivered the knowledge that we know to cope with those problems. The Transalp project has been implemented by a consortium of different scientists of different disciplines: meteo, hydrological, environmental, Earth observation institutions from Austria and Italy. With a combination of the authorities and I hope also the politicians who are responsible to tackle the problem. The project now is drawing to a conclusion by the end of the year. And during this final conference, the partners are sharing and discussing future perspectives with experts and with the stakeholders and with responsible authorities. Therefore, I'm glad to see so many people from different areas, from the Alps, the Apennines, maybe also from other mountain ranges. I don't know. And I'm very confident that this will help us to increase the preparedness of mountain territories towards climate change and the risk of extreme events. And I think it's very important to create a dialogue between researchers and the public. And I've noticed that the journalists are very curious. Yeah, so it's a good signal that people will become or are already aware of the problems. So I wish to thank the organizers, and I wish to all of us a very fruitful meeting and a bright future. Thank you.